So I just read my first, like, big communist book. I don't consider the manifesto really a book because that's more of a pamphlet or like a much smaller thing. But I read The Conquest of Bread by Peter Kropotkin, and dear Lord, this is the worst book I have ever read. In the sense of, like, even though I've read some pretty awful books, or even, like, there are certain books that I don't agree with the ideas, but at the very least I'll say they're informative, so you know what the ideas are. Like, there's usually at least some reason to read most of what I read, even if I don't actually enjoy it, or even if there's not even if I disagree with the ideas. When it comes to this, it's not that I disagree with the ideas, even though I do. It's more, I just can't see why this book is at all recommended, because when I think, or when I'm told about, like, when I look into the communist groups, they say Marx, they say Engels, those are the big two, and then I hear Kropotkin and Proudhon. So I read some Kropotkin, and the first book that everyone recommended was The Conquest of Bread. Now this book, it was written forever ago. It was written centuries ago. And I can't see why people are still recommending it, because it's so outdated. Like, it's so outdated, because the first 11 chapters are nothing but assertions. They're nothing more than claims. We need to do this, we need to do for the needs of the people, not for their wants or desires. Basically, it just preaches a communist society, and it doesn't even say why it would be better. It just says, it almost appears as if it's self-evident. It just says, this is what the society that I want. This is it's all assertions, which I hate, because there are no backups. There are no arguments. It's just assertions. And then you get to chapter 12, and I think there are 17 chapters total, if I remember right. And this is where it gets a little bit better. And that is where they're talking about they're actually talking about objections to communism. Chapter 12 is actually called Objections. And, I mean, they're all bad. None of these objections are valid. Like, it talks about the division of labor, which is something that I've even seen modern-day communists say, yeah, we admit we need the division of labor. We admit that that's something that the old-time commies were wrong on. They talk about the division of labor. And he says, we don't need it because we don't need, what was it, the guy, like, I think the example was someone working on the 18th part of a watch. We don't need this guy to specialize. We don't need to force them to specialize because they don't get bored and it'll be useless. And I'm just thinking, like, you realize the point of specialization is for plumbers, engineers, doctors, surgeons, like scientists, the really complex fields that require years and years and years and years of practice. And we're already at the end of the review, because there's so much more I have to say that's wrong about this. So I'm actually going to go on a bit of a further rant in a second video, and I'm gonna do a second part to this, because there's so much I have to complain about. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section. I do not recommend it at all, not even for understanding your enemy, because there's no substance here. But if you're interested, I will make a second part to this where I will go on a bit further. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.